Despite me winning all of these trophies back here, multiple World Poker Tours, a World Series of Poker, a whole bunch of other stuff, some of you in the comment section down below think Jonathan Little is a weak, tight nit who never bluffs, he's always in line, he only plays good cards. Well, let's see if that's true today.
They're gambling day one, Henry.
They are. Yeah, a little three-way affair as blinds have gone up 3K, 6K, 6K. A couple of gunshots out there now.
Little with the double gutty, right? Toma, he hasn't been shy thus far.
Right.
Okay, J-Dog.
Think
So won more money than Elton in poker
What am I gonna?
in the history of the game.
He said it before I even called, so I was like,
Yeah, no, that was
it's a weird thing to say.
that was honest.
Yeah, it was definitely honest.
I'm sure he wants to gamble a lot.
Yeah, that's kind of
early
what I was
in
saying
this
before, you know, you come down here, you play this tournament, you register, and you're up against all these faces you've seen
This is low stakes
in the
for
super
him.
high roller scene, especially Tritons, you think, oh no, I'm up against it, but they're gambling day one, Henry.
They are.
I don't
they
mind them at
really
my
are.
table if they're going to put in all these blinds. Sub-premium.
Yeah, sure.
Well, Matt Glance, the beneficiary of that gamble.
Today's hand comes from the $25,000 buy-in super main event that took place in the Bahamas recently. We are playing about 64 big blinds deep effective. It folds to me in the hijack seat with 5-4 of clubs, and I opt to raise. If you have studied at all at PeakGTO.com, you know 5-4 suited mixes between raising and folding. It's not all that great from early position. However, if you expect to not get 3-bet quite often enough, you should take pretty much every hand that's mixing any real proportion of raises and folds and raise it. And in my experience, most players in most games simply do not 3-bet often enough. They instead call a little bit too often or fold a little bit too often. So for that reason, very often I open maybe even a pip or two wider than GTO recommends. So here we are, 5-4 of clubs, we're doing it. Folds around to Gibb on the button with king, queen offsuit who calls. And then in the big blind, Toma calls with 6-5 of diamonds. So far, so good. I'm dominated. I have 20% equity. Let's go to the flop.
We've got here a little three-way affair as blinds have gone up 3K, 6K, 6K. I want to say a swing and a miss. I mean, king, queen is the best hand with middle pair, but never thrilled about it on the ace, king, 7 all hearts board.
The flop comes ace, king, 7, all hearts. I have literally nothing. Toma has literally nothing. Gibb has second pair, no flush draw. Kind of close to nothing. We all decide to check. You may say, told you, Jonathan, you're weak. You didn't even bluff as the preflop raiser. Hate to break it to you, as the preflop raiser, multi-way, in a spot where both my opponents could easily have an ace or a king or a high heart. This is a spot where you should simply give up. When you have zip and pip, multi-way, don't bluff off your stack for no good reason. So, check and get out of the pot. That's what my plan is. Let's see if they let me do it.
Couple of gunshots out there now.
Mm-hmm. A little with the double gutty, right?
Yeah, very disguised double gunshot. Did open from the hijack. 5-5 is never going to be good. Happy to just check this one.
The turn is the 3 of spades, giving me a double gut shot straight draw. Notice a 7 or a 2 both give me the straight. The problem, though, is if it's a heart, well, that's not so good for me. It wouldn't matter this time, but in general, it's not so good for me. Toma with his gut shot checks, and I have to decide if I should now bet. And I think I could go either way at this point between betting or checking, although I do think I want most of my bluffs to have a heart, just because, say I do have a hand like Jack 10 with the Jack of Hearts that I got a little bit loose and opened, or Queen 10, or something like that. I think those hands make much better bluffs, because when they do improve, they're always the best hand. Also, if I bet and get raised, I can conceivably call, whereas with this hand, if I bet and get raised, I just have to put it in the muck. Typically, whenever you have a draw that if it bets and gets raised, you have to fold it, but it does have okay equity, those draws very often just prefer to check. And that is what I do. That said, if you told me I wanted to bet here, it'd probably be okay. Yeah, maybe you all are right. Jonathan is a weak, tight nit. He checks. Gibb, with his second pair, checks it back as well, as he certainly should. If he bets and gets called or bets and gets raised, he certainly doesn't love it. And if it checks down, he wins sometimes. So, good play by him. Let's go to the river.
Try and see a river which he gets to. Now, surely someone's going to sneeze at this.
But you'd imagine that Gibb, being the last man, may feel like he has enough to check it back with that pair. So perhaps it falls on one of these two. And Toma, he hasn't been shy thus far. Let's give it a go.
Nice. I really like this. I'm glad he's recognized that someone needs to bluff at this.
Race.
The river is the 10 of hearts. It's pretty bad for everyone. Toma opts to go for a bluff. Half pot, 26,000. Now, at this point, most people look at my hand and say, obviously you have an easy fold. Told you were a weak, tight nit. But that is not what I decided to do. Instead, I decided to make it 100,000. And you may say, why? You have nothing. They could have a flush or anything else. There's a few reasons. First things first, you typically do want to have some bluffs in all of your ranges, especially when you could have some nut hands. You might say, do you really have any nut hands here? Wouldn't you bet your flush draws on the flop or the turn? Some of them I certainly would. But if I had a hand like pocket queens or pocket jacks, I would certainly not, right? So there are some hands in my range in this situation that would go for a check back on the flop and the turn that now have a very good flush. Also, Toma used a half pot bet size. Now, I'm not sure how much Toma has studied GTO strategies, but typically you want to bet small or medium with your medium flushes or your bluffs. You also want to bet big with some bluffs, but you want to bet big with your good flushes. So when he goes this size, I think he's going to have a whole lot of hands like a 9 of hearts, an 8 of hearts, maybe a 6 of hearts. He could have the queen or the jack, but I typically think most people in this situation when they bet half pot are going to be a little bit weaker. So if I have some queen of hearts and jack of hearts in my range that can put in the raise, that really have to put in the raise, and my opponent probably doesn't have those, I think this is a pretty reasonable spot to bluff. Also, remember at this table, I had not been especially active. I think I'd been a little bit card dead. And so I think this is a really, really good spot to go for the bluff. Also, a lot of people just simply don't bluff raise the river anywhere near often enough. I've been working on adding more bluffs to my range. Here's one of them. We make it 100,000 with nothing. In terms of the bluffs I want to bluff with, I don't think it really matters all that much in this situation. So I go for it. Make a read. Put in the money. Make it 100K. Let's see if anything wild happens.
Oh.
Hello.
Hello, John. Okay.
Hello.
Okay, J-Doc. How
Well,
about it?
well. He's seen enough so far of Toma. We've seen that man not shy to give things a go. Picked up on it.
He's still running back and forth with his phone. Poor guy. totally addicted.
Yeah, he's
Doomed.
he's off the deep end.
Yeah. We'll be all right.
We gotta get you some Google Glass or something. Google glasses.
You allowed to wear those?
Just don't tell anybody.
What is the?
Put some tape over the.
I mean, Henry's
Logo.
got 1.3 million chips.
For,
He's
you
gonna
know,
say
like
handle
I could understand, like, obviously why they're doing it. Like I could.
Nothing wild happens. They give me the pot. And that's good for me. You all can keep calling me a nit. I will prove you wrong over and over. Talk to you next time.